Okay, so I'm going to start out by telling you that number 43 is not a question that you really would know. It's not something that you're expected to know. It's something that you just need to figure out. So it's saying that you've got this line where ax plus by equals 1, and where a times b is not 0, meaning neither a nor b can be 0, which would, of course, make it horizontal or vertical. Okay, so I'm just going to kind of draw something that could be an L, a line L where, here we go, that's going to be my L. And I'm just going to kind of put some imaginary little hash marks here so I can kind of figure out what's going on here. So it's asking me to reflect this around the x-axis. Okay, now the best way I think to reflect things around the x-axis is to kind of determine some target points. Like that looks like a good point, that looks like a good point, this is a good point, and I'm going to go right here too. Okay, so, and I'm going to give this like maybe a couple little hash marks so I can see it. All right, so when you reflect this around the x-axis to make M, line M, okay, when I reflect this 0, negative 3, I'm going to be up here at 0, positive 3. When I reflect, that appears to be like, okay, when I reflect this, it looks like 6, 3, I'm going to go down to 6, negative 3. This one reflected is all the way down, it's going to be all the way up, actually, at positive 6. So reflecting that up at negative 3, positive 6. All right, so I've reflected this across the x-axis. This point I want you to pay attention to quickly, because if it's on the x-axis, it doesn't really reflect, it just sort of roots itself there. So what's on the x-axis, which is the x-intercept, is going to still remain at whatever value it was. Okay, so it says what's the distance of P, and it's saying P is the point of intersection. So that's the important thing to understand, is that whenever you reflect a line around the x-axis, it basically keeps its same x-intercept. It's going to cross always on the x-axis. So all I need to figure out is, in this generic equation, ax plus by equals 1, what's the x-intercept? Because the x-intercept is going to be where it crosses. The x-intercept, remember, is wherever the y value is 0. So all you have to do is put 0 in here for y. So I'm going to go ax plus b times 0 is equal to 1. Well, b times 0 is 0, so I get ax equals 1, and divide by a. X is equal to 1 over a. So the distance is going to be how far you jumped out on the x-axis, and that's going to be 1 over a. Now keep in mind that this would be true, that the x-intercept is the distance from the origin, only on the positive side, because negative, 1 over a negative isn't a distance. You can't have negative distances. So if you absolute value that a, that accounts for the fact that the distance can't be negative, and so that means the answer is C.